Good morning, everybody. This is Forever United TV. This is your Sunday morning, Sunday the 15th of June. Updates around everything going on at Manchester United, and there is a lot. Obviously, we had some big significant news yesterday. We're going to get the updates on the Victor Gyökeres situation from Romano and what he has said this morning and what really did happen with Manchester United, moving away from Victor Gyökeres, who United's next targets are, who we can realistically expect United to be going in for in that number 9 position, and we will. Updates on Manchester United's hunt for a new midfielder. I want to touch on all of your thoughts in the live chat from yesterday as well. I did drop a video on my initial reaction to the Gyökeres news last night and what I think might happen. I'm going to go through the detail of that now that we've actually had a chance to sleep on that and get some more minor details come out as to what happened with Gyökeres. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first of all, happy Father's Day, everybody, as well. Dads that are up in bed now, getting their breakfast in bed and whatever, or if your kids are taking you out this morning, make sure you look after your dads, everybody. I went out with mine last night, which was why we did the different sort of scheduled shows. But yes, again, obviously, Manchester United end up playing a big part in in the day yesterday. Let's just say that with all of that news that did drop regarding Manchester United's transfer activity and what is going on right now. We're going to talk a little bit about Mbeumo as well, and how important that is now for Manchester United. And we'll get all of your thoughts on everything. Like I just said, like not just the Gyökeres, what happens next? Because that's an important question also. What do we do now? What happens next for Manchester United? I want your thoughts on this one. Who you would actually want in at United? Let's get into this first of all by bringing up the update from Fabrizio Romano regarding what happened exactly with Victor Gyökeres and what the real story is and why Manchester United are no longer chasing the Swedish striker.
Because this morning I was telling you how Victor Gyökeres remains an option for Arsenal in this summer transfer window, and today the message coming from those close to Manchester United is that they feel, despite calling on daily basis, despite maintaining all the contacts active for Victor Gyökeres, they feel that the player is giving priority to Arsenal. Arsenal project, Champions League football, so Victor Gyökeres is giving priority to Arsenal. My understanding is that Gyökeres didn't say, no, I'm not coming to Man United. So Victor Gyökeres or his agents didn't inform Man United about rejecting the club. Just giving priority to Arsenal as long as the Arsenal option is available on the table. So what happens? Gyökeres is waiting to understand what happens at Arsenal before committing his future with any other club, because there was interest from Saudi, there was this call from Manchester United on daily basis, as I told you, to be informed on the situation of Victor Gyökeres. So for sure, Man United keep looking for a striker, and Man United remain interested in the Victor Gyökeres situation. But now they feel the deal is difficult because the player is giving priority to Arsenal. But as of tonight, still not killing the story between Gyökeres and United, just saying that Gyökeres is giving priority to Arsenal.
It's a kind of a different angle, isn't it, from what was reported initially last night. You had The Guardian coming out, you had The Times coming out, The Mirror came out. Every single publication came out last night. The headline read, Victor Gyökeres drops Manchester United. Victor Gyökeres tells Manchester United no. And that's in fact what I led with last night. And then reading into it and getting a bit more information. And you can believe Romano or not. It's entirely up to you what you think is what the truth is behind all of this. But no matter what you look at, really, it is that Manchester United are involved in a situation that's been brought about by a poor finish to the end of last season, which they're fighting against. They're fighting with one arm tied behind their back. But Manchester United's stance on this, I think, is quite clear. And we're starting to get these sorts of noises come out from Manchester United now. And we're starting to get this come out quite regular in terms of our stance on certain transfers. And now from what I read there is, it's if you even mention Arsenal being in front of Manchester United or anywhere near the priority ahead of Manchester United, we're not coming in for sloppy seconds. We're not going to be the second-rate club here. We're not going to be the second pick. It's not what we're doing. Other targets, let's move past it. And so United's stance on this, according to Fabrizio Romano, is just because Arsenal is Victor Gyökeres' top priority, even though Arsenal have not made a bid yet, according to Romano, that's it. United are done. So Arsenal could go out, in fact, and buy Benjamin Sesko. and Gyökeres is available, United, would we go back in for him then? No, according to Fabrizio Romano. It can go back in, obviously not according to Romano, sorry, I said that, no. But according to a lot of people now, Manchester United are just going to go and chase their targets now and not think about what might happen if Arsenal do business or not. They're not getting involved in a transfer tangle, in a transfer tug of war, or waiting around, like I said, just to get seconds from Arsenal. They're not going to do it. They want to go out and get players that are fully committed to Manchester United. And I put a tweet out last night. And the tweet that I put out last night was a Romano quote from back in April, where somebody had asked Ruben Amorim if he had spoken to Victor Gyökeres, and Ruben Amorim said, I've not spoken to Victor Gyökeres, but if he wants Champions League football and only wants to come to Manchester United for Champions League football, then he won't be coming to Manchester United. We want players that are fully committed to come to United and want to play for this football club. And then we had a piece from Andy Mitten 2 days ago, near enough, saying exactly the same thing from Omar Barada when he had a chance to speak to Manchester United executives at Old Trafford. He said he asked a question to Omar Barada, and Barada said exactly the same thing. We are going to bring players in that want to come to Manchester United. If they are talking about playing in certain competitions and that's why they're coming to Manchester United or to any club, they're probably not even Manchester United targets. So it looks like Manchester United all along have known what's happening with Victor Gyökeres. I think Romano has made it clear all along as well in saying that United have just been in contact, finding out the situation, trying to know what's actually going on. And once again, I'll go back to what I've always said so far. 2 weeks into the transfer window, Manchester United, you could look at it as a negative and say we've lost our number 1 and number 2 targets, if they indeed were them. I guarantee that Delap was Man United's number 1 target. Gyökeres, I think they've always been aware that he hasn't been fully committed to Manchester United. And then words from Ruben Amorim are echoing in every Man United fan's ears right now this morning. It's like, he was right. He said it then, so what's made a difference now? Gyökeres has been to-ing and fro-ing between Manchester United. He's been arguing with his club about the situation. We've just been sat in the wings waiting to see what happens from this. And now we know that he would like to be completely open to Arsenal before anybody else because of the Champions League. Fair enough, like I said last night, that's his stance, but don't expect Manchester United to still be there, is the club stance. And now we're moving forward into other targets. So that is where we're actually at right now with Victor Gyökeres. And that's the situation that I feel is not what Manchester United are prepared to go along with. It's like, time to move on. You've said your piece. You've been very clear. That's no problem. United understand the position that we're in. It's Romano said what would have been interesting in this is if United did have the Champions League. Would we have still gone in for Victor Gyökeres, or would we have stood firm in that we're only bringing players in who want to come to Manchester United? So, yeah, I think Manchester United always had it in their heads, even before that final against Spurs, that Gyökeres wasn't fully committed. And we've had all of the talk, and we've got excited. I've got carried away myself thinking Gyökeres is the right man to come in. I still think he would be a fantastic striker for United. I do. And he was my top player to bring in, my top target. But United have known something different all along, and they've not been happy with that. So we have to accept it as a fan base and move on to the next targets. And the more you look at it, the more you probably think, it makes sense, doesn't it? Like, we all get carried away. We want certain players in. We know what Man United need. We need that experienced striker. We need somebody who is going to take this front line and use what the other transfers that are going on right now, for instance, just to break that down, to use the other transfers that are coming in, like Mbeumo and Cunha, and maximise the potential of them players with a better number 9. I get it. I do. I get that's what Manchester United need. That's what they know they need. But the targets that are out there and the players that Manchester United are going for are not going to determine what happens in this window. They're not going to determine how this transfer moves along. Manchester United are standing firm with a lot of their transfers this summer. The easy one was Cunha, because he decided that was where he was going. There was a release clause. It was simple. There isn't that there with Mbeumo. There wasn't that there, definitely, in terms of assurances with Victor Gyökeres. And I think we're getting a taste of how this transfer window is going to go for Manchester United. 1 to 2 weeks of hard negotiations, maybe, of finding out what's going on, speaking to people. Any sign that this might be a problem, or there may be uncertainty in any shape or form within the transfer itself, we're gone. Move on. And that's where I think Manchester United are right now. So I'm happy with United's stance on this. If they don't feel like they want a player that's not fully committed, we've seen this before. The mercenary days are over. Gone are the days where United panic buy and bring in the likes of Antony and Rasmus Højlund for stupid amounts of money. That's not going to happen. And we're now looking at a different animal altogether. And as a fan base, we have to accept what the club are doing now. We've been moaning about it for years, about overspending and just going in and overpaying for players and bringing players in for the wrong reasons probably is the biggest problem that Manchester United have constantly had at this football club. So, yeah, we've stood firm, and I think overall, when we look back on this window, we may look at the Gyökeres situation as a miss because he is a quality player, but we could also look back at this transfer and go, well, at least we made a cutthroat decision. And if the player isn't fully committed to us, then we do have to move forward. We do have to draw the line and set a standard, don't we? If you're thinking of hovering around to try and see what Arsenal want to do and not sign for Man United when we have come in with clear intention, then that player is not a Manchester United player. I'm going to come into the live chat and get your thoughts initially on what happened with Gyökeres last night to kickstart the show, everybody. So pile in with your comments as well on this one. Let me know what you think. Jonathan David is a hell of a good player. We could be lucky to get him. Contact Jonathan David and give him a contract. These are the types of players now that people are going to start thinking up and looking for. Now, it's the next target. Who is the next man in line for you? Who should Manchester United be going for? He'll struggle at Arsenal because he can only score on the counter-attack, and he's not amazing at that. Just playing in a Farmers League. I think we're going to get the obvious Man United fan reaction to this and trying to play this down, trying to play Gyökeres down. Look, I'm not even going to try and play down his quality. I think he's an absolutely brilliant player, and I think he'll do fine at Arsenal. I think he'll do absolutely brilliantly at Arsenal, and if they do sign him, that is. More on that actually in Football Talks in the live show straight after this one. We're doing the paper round again, everyone, so make sure you tune in for that after this show. But in terms of where Manchester United's are at with Gyökeres, they knew the qualities and they would have gone for him. If they knew that he was fully on board with Manchester United, I think they would have gone for him. I'm not going to try and diminish what his qualities are, but it's the character that Manchester United are looking at. Remember the word Ruben Amorim constantly used, the characteristics, the mentality of these players. Now, I'm not saying that Gyökeres hasn't got it, but if there's any doubt whatsoever in Manchester United's mind that this player is not fully on board with the project or the system or whatever it is that's going on at the club, and he thinks that there's better elsewhere, see you later. Time to move on. Now, Manchester United and the talks with Hugo Ekitike and everything else that's going on. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's get a few more comments in. Ekitike is the most expensive option and the worst player by a mile. Doesn't score goals. Learner driver, not good enough to lead our attack. Ginge, a little bit over the top there, mate. He does score goals. He does. He is a good player. And he isn't the worst out of the lot. In fact, he scored more goals than Benjamin Sesko in the same league last season and helped his team qualify for the Champions League, where Benjamin Sesko didn't. So I'm going to disagree with you on that one, Ginge. Ekitike is a very, very good player and isn't the worst out of the lot. He's on a par, at least, with Benjamin Sesko, and the stats say that he's actually better than Sesko. So I cannot agree with that one. But whichever way you look at any of these players right now, by the way, and this goes for Gyökeres as well, they're not Prem-proven players. None of them are Premier League proven. So this is the difficulty that Manchester United have got. Does that force us into a different area? Are we actually going to be looking at players that have been in the Premier League? And that's it for Manchester United. Like Ekitike is a risk just as much as Gyökeres, Sesko, Osimhen, all of these players that have never played Premier League football. It is a shock to the system when they come into the Premier League. We've seen this with many players. We've seen this with absolute quality players coming into the Prem, where they have struggled and struggled massively to deal with the demand of the competitiveness. You don't get weeks off in the Premier League. And the sooner they adapt to that and the sooner they realise that, strikers, or any player for any position to that matter, then the better they are. It's if they've got that characteristic and that mentality. Ruben talks about players needing to be ready constantly. The cup final every single week. The intensity of the Premier League. The fact that you have to be fully prepared physically and mentally for every single game because everybody wants to take you down. You don't get that anywhere else. You don't get that in any other league. It's only the Premier League, and that's the difficulty. Finding that player is a nightmare, which is why Bryan Mbeumo, like I said last night, is still the most important player for Manchester United right now in this window. We need to get that deal done and over the line as quickly as possible just to get that absolute quality in. And then we can start thinking. I think United are prioritising that. Now that Gyökeres is gone and he's off the table, we can now all fully focus on Bryan Mbeumo and getting him in, because that's, I think, that's going to make Manchester United a completely different animal next season, as we know, because he is an absolute quality player, Premier League proven as well. And I don't think Manchester United have got any sort of issue in prolonging negotiations to make sure that they get this player in. They're not going to lose Mbeumo, I don't think. I think the price, like I said before, is right with him, and everything that's been said now is fully concentrating on getting Bryan Mbeumo over the line. Are the stories that are sort of circulating this morning, which you'd expect them to be. I said last night, I think Manchester United would. We would hope to have a significant update by next week on Bryan Mbeumo, at least now, I feel anyway, because they have said, if anything, the latest it's going to be is before pre-season. So it just depends now how quickly Man United move elsewhere. I don't think, just for instance as well, going off the Ekitike news from last night, while we're talking about everyone that's available, we'll bring in Ekitike now actually. So the stories, and Romano talked about Ekitike too. He talked about how Manchester United have held concrete talks with the agent of Ekitike. They've contacted Frankfurt as well. So United know the price and they know the setup for Ekitike. And like I explained, Ekitike could actually be cheaper than Viktor Gyökeres as a full package because of his wages. And that's what people don't grasp. It's always the transfer fee. If Sporting are wanting upwards of 70 million for Viktor Gyökeres, then Ekitike is not a million miles away from that. And, I mean, you could argue which league is tougher, the Bundesliga or the Portuguese league. I would always say the Bundesliga. I think it's got better teams and it's a bit more competitive. But at the end of the day, when you look at this now and where United are actually at, like everybody said, Ekitike and the talks, they're going well. They've spoken. They know the conditions, Manchester United. They know everything that's necessary to get this deal done. And if they are still talking, I think it comes down to the package again. I think United can get that price down. I think United can negotiate a deal. Whether or not we could throw in a player or something like that, that might help. Maybe send somebody out there that can help us with something like that. I don't know. If there are any make weights in Man United's team that we can throw across to Germany just to sweeten things up a little bit. United would not have gone into negotiations or speak to the agents or even go to Frankfurt if they didn't feel like there was a deal to be done. So we'll see how that one develops now. But everybody said the same thing. Manchester United are 100% in for Ekitike. And this might be the next target for us. This might be the next striker target. On top of that, you have got the Victor Osimhen news, which has circulated again. And Rudy Galletti saying Manchester United have actually contacted Napoli and the agent of Osimhen again. While there's so many teams contacting him, I think he's always going to try and drive that harder bargain with his wages and things like that. So I do believe that in this moment, Manchester United right now don't want to go into a deal for Victor Osimhen. I feel like there is always an option there, but there is going to have to be some movement from Osimhen's side to make this happen now. They don't want to be going in for players that are just looking at the big money. He's coming to Manchester United. Why? If I'm looking and I'm using the Viktor Gyökeres stance as an example right now, and my expectations of Victor Osimhen, I don't think Manchester United want to be anywhere near Victor Osimhen. I don't. I think they look at it as a similar scenario to Viktor Gyökeres. I think it's a case of, look, he's not fully committed. He's not coming to United because he wants to come to United. And them players are hard to find, by the way. So they are going to have to cut a little bit of slack in that rope that they've got there in that being the standard line for Manchester United. Like, you have to be fully committed to coming to United. Like, not every player is going to be all on board and just looking at United. They must have an understanding that he's looking at other clubs as well. and every player is going to be looking at other clubs. So it's a case of Man United make their offer and proposal to the player. This is what it's going to be. If that player then is not interested in that and wants to go and look at other options, Manchester United will give him the opportunity. Maybe. I don't know. They may just walk away straight away. But yeah, and then let's see what that player wants to do. If he comes back to United and says, I like your proposal, and then that, I think, is where United then go into full-on negotiation mode. I think that's what's happened with Mbeumo. Other offers were put on the table for him. United knew about the other offers, like it was always said at the start. And then Mbeumo said, I like United, I want to go to United. So United go into full negotiation mode. I don't think we've got anywhere near Victor Osimhen accepting Manchester United's proposal or what they want to pay. And I don't think United are convinced that Osimhen is fully committed. He just wants to see what club comes up with the best offer. Osimhen is going to be a saga, I think, that drags on through the window. And whether United are involved, I don't know. But the fact that Ekitike is on the table for United right now and is being discussed makes me feel like Osimhen is further and further away from even getting anywhere near the negotiation table for Manchester United. Just my opinion on that. But obviously, there are multiple options available for Victor Osimhen right now. It's just who is going to go and bend over to them demands, which is a ridiculous wage, which is going to be upwards of 300 grand a week. I don't think United will go near that. United would sign Osimhen if he dropped his wages, I think, and he was happy. I think he's happy to come to United in a way, but I think he's happy to go everywhere else, which is why Ekitike, I think, is probably ahead of Osimhen right now for United. Personally, anyway. Zane is in the chat. Of course, Zane is in the chat. What are you doing up this early, Zane? Is it simply because you can't make your mind up about what striker to buy? What he says, Gyökeres will lead us to the league. If you don't get Mbeumo, you will struggle to make top 8. Why don't you offer Højlund? That's Zane there. I think, to be fair to Zane, there he's come in and he's been balanced with his argument. He's not gone fully on in there and rips us to bits. Victor, by the way, I've said this before, and I'll say this again on Football Talks. We're going to talk about Arsenal and their striker situation on Football Talks after the show, so I don't want to go too much now. But that would strengthen Arsenal significantly. Victor Gyökeres going to the Gunners, I do believe it would. But Zane has picked up on a good point there. The most important thing is, in fact, going to be Bryan Mbeumo for Man United now and getting that deal done first. And then move on to strikers. Look, there's plenty of strikers out there that United can go for. I think we've just lost 2 in a way that we would have been interested in. But obviously, we have got bigger priorities, which is players that want to come to us that are practically about to sign as long as we get the deal done. So let's get this deal done for Bryan Mbeumo, please, United. I think that's the most important thing out of anything right now, getting that one over the line and just letting the waters calm a little bit around this Man United fan base, because I can feel it. I could feel it last night on social media. I only have to mention one thing on social media, and there's always someone ready to go in and rip my head off for having an opinion about football. But I just get that vibe right now that the United fan base is looking. He's looking for blame. He's looking for someone to go in on. Getting Mbeumo done, it just calms everything a little bit. And I think then we can start to move forward with the striker. And only then. I understand United have to be negotiating on different players. We've got a lot of work to do. But we've still got a lot of time. And if Ekitike knows that Manchester United are significantly interested in him and want him to come to the club, I think that's a player there. Being a United fan as well, I think that's a player there that would probably like to go to Manchester United. I personally feel he would be on board with the United project, looking at what's been said and everything. And you can see why United have picked him out. But let's not forget, Manchester United have been scouting Ekitike now for a very, very long time. If you look into the past and you look into previous reports, some of Manchester United's actual scouting reports and when they've been following Ekitike has been for over 2 years now. So it is significant, and Manchester United do know the player well. Obviously, it didn't happen. I think it's Reims, isn't it? The French outfit. Then to PSG. And then obviously across on loan to Frankfurt. Then obviously signed last summer on a permanent. And Frankfurt are in no hurry to sell Ekitike. They have got plenty of room, plenty of money in the Champions League, third in the Bundesliga. They are comfortable right now. So that, I think, is where Manchester United will be looking at that deal possibly as a little bit of a stumbling block that there is so much. There's so much. Well, they're very comfortable. Let's just say, sorry, Frankfurt in their situation right now, and United are going to have to bid high. They're going to have to bid high. Block with a super chat, 8:27 a.m. and still no breakfast in bed. Not happy. No, sorry, Block. Again, some dads just have to get on with it, I'm afraid, mates. You might get the happy Father's Day handshake a little bit later on, mate. Maybe you can take you out for a pint, make it up to you. Barry says, Mbeumo surely now way more important because we aren't going to get a pure goal scoring in at number 9. We will end up with another youngster or someone that at the end of their career. I said this yesterday. And it keeps on going under the radar. But would anyone be interested in John Duran from, formerly of Aston Villa? Yes, that player. There is a problem over in the Saudi Pro League with him, and it is thought that he would be available on loan for this season. Would you stopgap a striker like John Duran and bring him in as your number 9 next season? That player from Villa, yes, that one. There are apparently, and reports coming out from the Saudi side of things, issues personally, and he may be available on loan. Would you take John Duran on loan? The problem with that is you would have to probably pay quite significant wages, but I'm sure you could pay a chunk of them wages and get away with it. Is he good enough for Manchester United for a season? Maybe loan with obligation or an option, something like that. Maybe look down the line. Maybe he could turn into that striker that he was hoping to be at Villa but didn't get the chance because of Watkins. Look, I'm just trying to think outside the box here. The striker options for Man United, it's not dead. The summer isn't over because we haven't got Gyökeres. There are plenty more there. Yes, Manchester United are just sieving out the issues and problems with certain players right now and trying to get the right one. The last thing United need to do right now is panic and go out and overspend on a striker. That would be an absolute nightmare. And then we're going back down the road of what we used to be again, aren't we? And nobody wants that. So, yeah, that's another situation that could develop as well. Let's get a few more comments in on this one as well. Let me talk to me about who you would like in. What are your concerns about the number 9 at the moment? Ekitike is better for PSR, even with his higher price. That's why United will go for him over Osimhen. I said that before as well. Sketch, he is better for PSR. If we had other options, then yes, I'd take him on loan. If we had no other options, says Jack. Ekitike is more important than Mbeumo. We don't have a good centre-forward. I don't think so. I think Mbeumo and Cunha coming in, definitely, they transform Manchester United's front line completely. They really do. So that, I think, is vital. Mbeumo has to come before anything else right now. Because Manchester United obviously are still fully in negotiation-wise with him, so you'd expect United to be looking at him as a priority, definitely. But Ekitike, I think, would be the next in terms of negotiations, anyway, or significant movement. But let's see what we've got here in the chat as well. It was Delap, then it was Gyökeres, now it's Ekitike. Anybody see a pattern emerging here? As in what way, mind's eye? As in Manchester United not getting players because we're not in the Champions League? Yeah, I can, because there's 2 right there off the bat. And Ruben did say, if players don't want to come to Manchester United because we've not got Champions League, fair enough. Stay where you are. We won't be going for you. I think he made it clear. Look, you got to ask the question. You got to see. You got to put your proposal across. And if the player decides to go elsewhere, then you move on, which United have done from Victor Gyökeres. So I'm happy with it. I've not got a problem with it at all. I don't believe in these United fan players. All we need is a convincing, regardless of no Europe. That's the board's job. If they want to sign fans, I can score all those chances Højlund misses. It's not about that, though, is it, mate? It's about looking into the past, proper recruitment. They've been looking at Ekitike for over 2 years, sorry. They know who he is. They know the type of player he is. The fact that he is a United fan is just a little bit of a bonus. Again, yes, I know that. But at least he would know what the club's history is. He knows what United are all about. And if he wants to be part of a project which is turning Manchester United into a great team again, and he wants to pick that over what he's got now, which is already European football, and probably, I'm guessing, other clubs going in for him that have got European football as well, and he wants to take that, then I'm convinced by that man wanting to be a Man United player. I think straight away what you said there, Antoine, was definitely right. If this player wants to come to Manchester United, like Cunha, like Mbeumo, ahead of other clubs that are in a better position and are in Europe, then you know that player's probably got the right characteristics and mentality anyway, don't you? I think that's what we've got to look at. Such a shame that we are living in our past, says Babs. We need to create a new one, don't we, Babs? We need to create a new one. We need to start climbing, is what we need to be doing. And I do believe in what Ruben said. Like, it's only going to happen if he gets the right players with the right character, not just what they are on paper. Like, the stats are always there to argue any point, aren't they, with any player? It's just if they have got that bit between the teeth and they know and they understand what Ruben's project is. That's the hard bit. 5 gifted memberships in from ourselves. You're welcome, everybody. That's a little Father's Day gift for everybody in the live chat right there. Welcome to the Members Club, everybody. I want to move on to other news as well, because we've talked about Gyökeres, Ekitike, Osimhen. Now let's move on from the striker. Let's go back into the midfield, because in the same report last night, Fabrizio Romano said something that I was talking about the other day regarding Manchester United's hunt for a midfielder. And again, the former sporting director at Juventus, Guantoli, he was, who had been negotiating a potential swap deal for a couple of Manchester United players. Now, former director of football, Guantoli, who left 11 days ago, was exploring a swap deal with Antony to Juventus and Douglas Luiz to United. Initial talks were held. That's from Fabrizio Romano. So Juventus, as we know, are interested in Antony. They definitely would be open to a possible transfer. They're trying to move players on, of course. And Douglas Luiz, as we know, is one of them players. And again, this is a cheap deal for Manchester United to get done if Douglas Luiz is available for him. And I think does help us going forward. I explained my position on Douglas Luiz, and that was that he comes in now, isn't our number one option, wouldn't be the ideal transfer target, but we have to fix the forward line. If United have to buy a cheaper centre midfielder for 30 million, 25, 30 million, because we're having to go all out on a number 9 and the 2 10s, then so be it. But Douglas Luiz has got Premier League proven experience, and he would be in a rotation system with Casemiro, Bruno and Agate, probably. You could add Collier and Mainu to that, I said. And then next summer, Casemiro's gone for free. And then Douglas Luiz moves across to that role, and United go out and hopefully go out and spend some big money on a proper number 8 like an Adam Wharton, or a real midfield target where we like a top choice, first choice target for United. That's what I think Manchester United will be doing next summer. But Douglas Luiz, like in Manchester United's squad, that is not a bad signing at that price. As long as the wages fit United's structure, I said this yesterday, I don't care if it is with a swap. If it is with a swap and we can exchange Antony for Douglas Luiz, I'm all in on that. I'll take that right now. I don't care. Get Antony completely off the books. And if Juventus want to take that on, Antony off the books and Douglas Luiz in, what you got to look at there is, you've not really made much on Antony, but we didn't expect to make much anyway. You could probably say that Antony's worth 40 million, Douglas Luiz is less, and you're losing there. But realistically, for Man United right now, I don't think that matters. It's Antony off the books and someone else in who's probably going to be on, I'm guessing, less wages, maybe similar to Antony, but isn't costing Manchester United anymore, because we've got a player in that's actually doing something. So for United to be paying for a player still in instalments right now that's doing nothing for us is the worst case scenario. And United are going to have to think outside the box to try and get rid of some players this summer. But why not use this as an opportunity to replace Antony's instalments and this package that we're paying for him with a player that is actually going to do something for us? I think it makes sense for United. Antony out, Luiz in. Yes, we're not going to be paying much less. We could be paying something similar, but I'd rather be paying money to a player that's actually going to be on the pitch wearing a United shirt this season in a position we really need, that's got Premier League proven experience, that can really help Manchester United out. And then next summer, like I said, Manchester United will have lost Casemiro, so then big wages are gone, and that's another one off the books. and United can move forward and go and buy another midfielder then. And I think then the likes of Adam Wharton would come into the fray and other midfielders. Like, I'd expect United to be spending 60 to 80 million on a midfielder on number 8 next summer. I've completely given up on a big midfielder coming in, a big signing coming in midfield this pre-season now. I don't think it's going to happen. It's quite clear where Manchester United's priorities are and what we need to do. And I think if we can make some form of deal happen for another midfielder, then we go for it, get it done. And that, I think, is where we're now, I think, pushing towards. And like we said yesterday, with the news coming out about Emi Martinez and Manchester United going in for him, again, if United could get someone like Luiz, Emi Martinez into this side, and then get that striker, whether it's Ekitike or another striker, with the 2 signings of Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha, that there is a transformation of Manchester United's team. That is a full spine transformation. And you've got leaders and characters and proper Premier League players there. For Manchester United to bring in 4 Premier League proven players in one window, that is unprecedented in recent history in this football club. Absolutely unprecedented. And I think would transform Manchester United's starting 11 next season. I really do. Douglas Luiz alongside Bruno Fernandes. That's not bad. With Mbeumo and Cunha in front of him. You've got Dorgu and Ahmad either side. Get that striker, whoever that is going to be. Well, you can see the thinking in this. And I can see legs in Luiz, because this keeps on coming up right now. And Juventus are after 2, maybe 3 of Manchester United's players. They're interested in Gyökeres, they're interested in Højlund, and they're interested in Antony. We know this for fact. And the fact that Romano's come out and said that there has been initial talks already held about Douglas Luiz and Antony tells you that something else could actually come about from this. So let's ask, I'm going to ask you in the chat, like, where would you be at? Where would you actually be at? Sorry, do you know what? I totally forgot about my little sub counter. And there we go, everyone. Bang, we did just go over 84,600 there. I thought something was missing off my screen. Thanks, Kaz, for that one. Just told me. And yeah, everybody who else who said it in the chat as well. Missing pieces. I tell you what, that Gyökeres news rocked me, didn't it? Last night. No, it didn't. I'm only joking. Douglas Luiz, people. Is it that simple a deal to get done? Is it too good to be true? Douglas Luiz, Emi Martinez with a striker on top of Mbeumo and Cunha. Close that window. I'm a happy man. I'm going to say that right now. If you get them deals done, then Manchester United have stacked their team out with absolute quality in experience and, I think, character, leadership qualities as well in all of that. I'm talking Emi Martinez there, not so much the Douglas Luiz one in terms of leadership qualities, but I don't mind a little bit of South American grit and sort of skullduggery type of dark arts coming into our side. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be the pushover if you've got Emi Martinez and Matheus Cunha in the side. You add Luiz to that as well. A bit of Brian Mbeumo. We're adding a bit of muscle. We're having a bit of physicality back to Man United's side. You know, you've got the likes of De Ligt behind that beast with Lenny Yoro and Lisandro Martinez as well. Like, with no more pushover Man United here. Come on! Let's make it happen, Reds. Let's get these transfers in. Let's start thinking positive again. I'm trying, everyone. I am. But no, talk to me in the chat, everybody, about Douglas Luiz as well. Would you swap him for Antony? If it was just a like for like, we ended up paying pretty much the same instalments what we are. I don't think it would be, because obviously you'd expect Douglas Luiz to be a bit less if United were going to do this in the first place. But again, there'll be something that Manchester United could make happen there, and I feel like that I think would shore up us for this season. I think it would. I think that would give us that extra little bit that we need this season. The centre forward is going to be very, very key from this point, I feel, for United. But if you can make that happen, all for it. All for it. Right, let's see what we've got here in the comment section. Graham's not happy with swap deals. I'm not surprised by that. Joking aside, I would like to have seen Antony with a run of games on the left wing. Yeah, I don't think it was ever going to happen. We missed a fantastic opportunity. We should have sold Bruno. We will regret this. We cannot now go in and start blaming Bruno if things are not going right for us, though, in this window. That's what I don't want to happen. As soon as Bruno has a bad game, I feel like this fan base is just going to jump onto his back again. It's not on, to be honest. It isn't. But I can see people going that way. I can. Make sure you do hit that subscribe button, please, everybody. We are on our way to that magical 90k mark. We're marching now. We want to be there before the start of the season. And then it's full steam ahead to try and get that silver play button. I can't even believe I'm saying that. It feels amazing to actually say that we have got a chance of making that happen very soon. Absolutely buzzing with that. We can sell who we like, but only one player wants to come who is not a mercenary. And Mbeumo delay tells me we are in massive trouble. I think you're overthinking it there, Jeff. We're not. We're about 2 weeks into negotiations on Mbeumo. How do you think Liverpool fans feel about Milos Gyökeres, who they've been talking about for 4 weeks now? Look, don't worry about Mbeumo like that. I think everybody automatically goes into panic mode as a United fan, thinking that we're going to lose out on a target. Look, we didn't put a bid in for Gyökeres. We made an approach, and it's not worked out. We're okay. If we get Mbeumo done now, get that signed, sealed, and delivered, and then we move forward from there. It should be a happy Man United fan base, I feel. Carl says, my opinion of Bruno will never change, and we will regret not taking that 100 million. It's going to happen. No, I mean, I'm happy with Bruno staying, to be honest. I do. I think United need to be looking to try and fix the mistakes that they have made in other ways in the transfer window, besides Bruno. I really do. I get what people are saying, by the way, though. I'm not saying that you're wrong. It would have been a massive help for Manchester United this window if we did have that Bruno Fernandes money there. But, again, you're still having to replace absolute quality. Frankfurt wants 85 million for Hugo Ekitike. That's the price, so everybody is aware of it. United have got work to do on that one in terms of bringing the price down. I think, obviously, if it's 85 million in installments, maybe we could get that down. The 85 million could be made up in add-ons, so Manchester United could come in a little bit less and go with add-ons. I think Manchester United would probably hope to try and get something done for Ekitike in the 60 million bracket. 60 to 70 million brackets. That's United's. I'll tell you right now, that's Man United's price tag of Hugo Ekitike and where he's at. Obviously, he's a young striker as well, so Frankfurt are going to hold on to that. But I do believe that Manchester United will be probably looking between the 60 to 70 million mark. And it's whether Frankfurt will drop onto that. And we will see what happens with that and how it develops now. But fully tuned in, and obviously we'll keep you fully updated on Ekitike as it goes along. But yes, don't forget, everybody, we are going across to Football Talk straight after this live show. The link is there in the chats, everybody. You will be redirected anyway, so stay with us for that. We're going to talk about everything else that's going on in the transfer market around the Premier League as well. Some interesting stories developing. I really hate these transfer rumours. Get amazing new over the week, then at weekend things go south, just like United's season ruined my weekend. Don't let it ruin your Father's Day, Aaron, mate. You got plenty to look forward to. Let's see. Does Amorim have clear targets? No one sold, and buying got roadblock. Again, panic. Everybody's panicking. Why? Look, we are not even anywhere near a quarter of the way through the first transfer window, and we are making progress. This is all that matters, people. Don't let these talks on what's happening with the likes of Gyökeres and people like that bring you down. What if we sign Bryan Mbeumo tomorrow? Everyone's going to be back up again and happy again, and then we look forward. That, I think, is why Bryan Mbeumo, more than anything, is important. I said it at the top of the show. He's important simply because the fan base needs something now after everything that's going on. So hear a striker come out and say that he would prefer to wait for Arsenal than go and commit to Man United is a big thing. And that's going to turn anybody into that negative mindset, I feel. But right now, I think United just need to concentrate on what's in front of them. Getting Mbeumo over the line. He turned down other clubs to come to United. When we get that done, that's going to make everybody feel a lot better, I feel. And then we can push on from there. But yes, I'm fully convinced still that Manchester United are going to be, I think, getting the players in this summer that we need. I fully think that Manchester United have already got their targets lined up, like Ekitike. I think midfield, they've got an idea. I think goalkeeper, they've got an idea. I think it is going to come down to when Mbeumo's done, the number 9, and who we actually get, and then everything else should fall in place. My only concern is moving players on. That's it. And not being able to move players on is my only concern. Adam, this was always going to take a few years. I'm happy that we are going in the right direction. Sancho and Rashford are high on impossible situations to resolve. Difficult, very difficult situations to resolve. And again, living with the past and dealing with the shit that we've been left with from previous regimes is always going to make this difficult. And people just need to remember that, I feel. I really do think that that is important. Almost at 500 live likes, everybody. So please do give the video a like if you haven't already. Make sure that you get your comments in as well, please. Just to go over all of the news again from the top and what we spoke about, if you have just joined us on the show. Fabrizio Romano has come out and said that Manchester United are not completely out of the race for Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres has not told Manchester United that he doesn't want to go to them. In fact, he is very, very angry, apparently, that his choice has been made public. And his choice is he would like to wait first for Arsenal to see what they're doing and then make a decision on other opportunities if Arsenal don't go for him. And that, for Manchester United, is why they're walking away. We're not going to go for seconds. So where in Gyökeres' mind that United is still on, he's not said no to United. United have said no to Gyökeres and his choice of waiting to see what Arsenal does first. They're not going to wait around. They're going to go out and get another target. That is reportedly Hugo Ekitike from Frankfurt, and Manchester United have now started talks with his agents and Frankfurt regarding the potential package and what it is going to get, what he's going to need to get that deal done. There also have been communications and conversations again with Mr Osimhen, but that one is thought to be very, very wide of the mark. Manchester United now moving on to full priority number 1, which is getting Bryan Mbeumo signed and sealed. That needs to happen very, very quickly for Manchester United fans, just to calm the waters, like I said, and make everybody feel a little bit better. But that still alone isn't enough for a lot of this Man United fan base, and I get that. I do. I get that, and I get that vibe from the chat today alone. There is a lot of work to do, but let's not forget there is a lot of time left to get that work done. So I think Manchester United, again, will be, I feel, like working overtime to try and get everything in place right now. Super chat in from Graham. Thank you, my man. Which guaranteed players are being signed on this fictional Bruno money? I don't know, mate. That's for United. But I think that's Graham popping a super chat into people talking about the Bruno money and regretting not selling Bruno Fernandes. Osimhen would work brilliantly with Cunha and Mbeumo and Bruno and Ahmad. He would score a minimum of 25 to 30 goals. That's worth the money to take a Champions League top 4. See, that's the decision that Man United have got to make. It's a fair comment. You could say that you're getting guarantees with Victor Osimhen in what he's done before. He scored a lot of goals wherever he's played. But again, Victor Osimhen, like Ekitike, like Sesko, like Gyökeres, has never played a game in the Premier League. And that, again, is where Manchester United need to make their cutthroat decisions. Their ruthless decisions need to come about where Manchester United are convinced that that player is the right one for the Premier League. I don't think Osimhen would have a problem in the Premier League. Personally, I don't. And again, if United feel like there's a deal to be done with Osimhen, I'm all in. I am all in on that. I would love him to be at Man United. I just don't, in reality, see it. And I think that's why Ekitike is top choice. Also, in the chat, please do let me know what you would think about Douglas Luiz coming in. Whether it is a swap or not, Manchester United could possibly get Luiz for 25 million. 25 to 30 million is the price tag. That, to me, seems like too good a deal to turn down right now. And, again, that, I think, works for United going forward, because next summer we could go out and really spend in midfield. But I think he would definitely help us this season domestically, knowing the Premier League inside and out. I think between him, Casemiro, Bruno and Ugarte, that should see us through into at least Europa League football next season, get back into that top 6. That's where I'm at anyway with it. But look, you tell me. It's up to you to decide what you prefer at Manchester United, and that's what the comment section is for, everybody, as well. Thank you everyone who has liked the video. Thank you everyone who has subscribed while we've been on live. We are pushing in less than 500 away from 85k now. We've had an absolutely amazing week. And thank you everybody again for all of your contributions. Thank you again for all of your comments and being part of these live shows. It is jam-packed at the moment and it is very busy. So I do appreciate your consistency and love for the channel and being in these shows with us. It's brilliant. I can see so many familiar faces constantly and some new faces now consistently coming in as well. Give us a vote on the poll before we finish up, everybody, as well. Are you coming over for the paper round on Football Talks? 50% of you are coming over, so I expect quite a few over there in a moment, everybody. That's where we're heading next. You will be redirected across when this live stream finishes. But for now, here on Football Talks, sorry, on FUTV, that's your morning roundup done. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Come and join us for an extended show over on Football Talks now. And obviously, enjoy your day if you are too busy or you're doing anything else. Mods in this chat, thank you very much. Brilliant job again, everybody, for all of your inputs throughout. Fantastic. Pop a like on the video on the way out. And of course, make sure that you do hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything going on at United. And yeah, if you do want to know a little bit more about what is happening with Gyökeres and on Sesko, it's going to be a big old debate on Football Talks next, amongst a lot of other things as well. And that is us all done now. Thank you, everybody.